So I'm jumping back into 3ds Max now. I'm going to bring in the work that I did in ZBrush into Max, and I'm going to normal map inside of Max so we can see how that end of the workflow operates. Okay, so I don't need this object here anymore. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hide this guy. I don't have anything now, so I'm going to go to Unhide by Name. I'm going to bring out the panel 001, but I'll tell you what, I'll do that in a second. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to import my high-res object, okay? So I'm going to go to Import, and I have this object that I exported from ZBrush, the sample panel from ZBrush OBJ. You can see it's over 200 megabytes. That's a pretty big file. This is very big, okay? So I'm going to import that in. And I'm going to get some import settings here. There's some presets you can choose from. I'm going to go ahead and go with the ZBrush preset. I'm going to leave all the other options alone. Everything looks pretty good. You can see over here, if I look at the faces, this object has almost 6 million faces. That's a lot. This is a very dense object, and I'm going to go ahead and import that in. And you're going to see that it takes a while to import this OBJ. It's sitting there loading almost like if it was rendering some kind of photorealistic render or something. It's just going pretty slow. So here's my mesh from ZBrush. Right now it's just an editable mesh, and you'll notice that my viewport is extremely slow. It's moving, but you can see here that the high-res object has all the details. It's got all the nice scratches and all this stuff. It's extremely dense. That's what I'm going to use for my normal mapping. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go to Unhide by Name. I'm going to bring out the plane 001. Remember, that's the low-res object we previously created. It's already positioned in the right spot and everything, so it's good to go. In order to increase my performance here, what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to end up selecting that high-res object and changing its view mode. So let me actually go ahead and select that guy. That's going to be the group 1 object. Let me go ahead and go to its object properties. And I'm going to I'll turn on displays box. I don't need to be able to see it. Okay, so we've got our performance back. I'm going to select the low-res object, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the projection modifier. Just delete that. I'm going to open up the render to texture window, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to pick, and I'm going to pick the group 1 object, which is the high-res. May take a little moment to load it up. Alright, so I brought this object in. I'm going to keep all my quality settings the way that they are. I'm going to change the name here. I'm going to save this as something else. I'm going to call this ZBrush panel, just to keep it as a different map. And that should pretty much do it. My super sampling, all that stuff should still be the same as before. Looks like we're good to go. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit render. This will take a while. So it's rendering out. It's actually going at a pretty good rate here. I'm going to skip ahead in the video just so you don't have to watch this render here. Alright, so it's finished rendering out. Now you can see the normal map is still the old one that we're using. So I'm going to select this object, and let's go to the Slate material editor here. I'm going to go to the shader, go to DirectX shader properties over here, and we're going to change the material. Now I want you to see in the viewport how it's going to update. We're going to switch over to the new normal map, which is this ZBrush panel, and you can see immediately it updates in the viewport, and it looks fantastic. If I come over here and go to View Image, you can see what this normal map looks like. Obviously, it's much more detailed than what we had before when we just normal mapped the high-res sub-D object. You can see all the scratches and everything, some noise, dents, little nicks and defects in the object and stuff, and it looks really good. You can see here this looks fantastic. Alright, so that's going to do it for this video. I'm just going to go ahead and end this here, and we still have more to cover when it comes to sculpting, the ZBrush workflow and stuff like that. We've only started to scratch the surface.